Hello, good people of YouTube. Mountbatten here. And today we have received some most unexpected and surprising news from Wargaming released via the development blog, which we're about to take a look at right here. So if you want to read along as I read aloud, you can check out the link in the description down below. I will be throwing up any relevant images or artwork as we go through this dev blog as per usual. But again, link is down there if you want to check it out and read it for yourself. So let's go ahead and get on into it. So out of nowhere, Wargaming has announced that they are removing the detonation mechanic. Like, completely, full stop. They're just removing it from the game. Now, there's a bit more to it than that. Obviously, we have flags and modules that concern the detonation mechanic, but they have some answers to that. So let's go ahead and get on into it. So the dev blog is titled Removal of Magazine Detonation Mechanic Closed Test 13.11. Based on the feedback of you, community contributors, and other volunteers, we have decided to change our stance on the magazine detonation mechanic and are going to remove it from the game entirely, starting with update 13.11. Then they go into detail about, well, again, that flag and module. As a result, we're making these additional changes with the start of the update. The Juliet Charlie signal will be removed from the game. It will be replaced with the Charlie Kilo signal once update 13.11 goes live. After removing Juliet Charlie, the Juliet, oh man, so the English here is not great. After removing Juliet Charlie signal will provide and protect, oh, no, actually, I just can't read. That's what's going on here. All right, so it actually says, after removing Juliet Charlie's signal, which provided protection from magazine detonation, we decided to replace it with a new signal, which will provide a decent bonus and utility to all different ship types. Charlie Kilo will have the following stats: plus 5% ship HP and plus 2.5% squadron HP. For all players who own Juliet Charlie signals once update 13.11 goes live, the full amount of this signal in their inventories will be replaced with Charlie Kilo signals at a ratio of 1:1. The Juliet Charlie signal will also be removed from various different distribution sources like combat missions, containers, and others. I'd assume it'd be replaced with the new Charlie Kilo signal. Magazine Modification 1 upgrade will be removed from the game, with everyone who owns the upgrade receiving 100% compensation in credits. The India X-Ray and Juliet Whiskey 101 signals currently have an effect that increases the risk of your ship's magazine detonation by 5%. These effects will be removed. So, very interesting change here from Wargaming. So, the magazine detonation mechanic, if you don't know how that works in game, every ship, with the exception of CVs and I believe submarines, have magazines modeled in their armor model. If you don't know what a magazine is, it's the portion of a ship where, well, the ammo is kept. In battleships, you know, these huge barbettes, they keep the shells in there. That's why these barbettes are armored so well, because you get a bunch of shells in there, along with, of course, the powder flats as well. And, you know, basically scale that down for cruisers and destroyers. It's really cool. If you ever can go to the USS Alabama, you can walk inside of the barbette. They've cut into it. They made it really accessible for the public, and you can check out my video on the Alabama in real life here if you want to do that. Unexpected plug right there. But anyway, yeah. So obviously, if a shell gets through that bit of armor, it's going to be a very bad day for everyone involved on that ship. And historically, it of course has happened throughout history. Quite famously, quite a bit at Jutland to the British battle cruisers, and then yet again, quite famously, to the Hood with the Battle of the Denmark Strait when she came across the Bismarck. So yes, there is of course historical precedent for this event happening. However, of course, that doesn't really make for a fun game mechanic. While yes, these magazines are modeled in-game, the only way it would happen is if your ship was below 75% of its HP. And then when a shell would penetrate, or I believe hit near, these modeled magazines on your ship, you know, the game kind of rolls a dice and sees, you know, hey, does their number come up, right? You have a random chance of exploding. So quite literally, I could shoot you directly in your magazine with an 18.1 inch shell from a Yamato, and nothing could happen, even though I shot you directly in your magazine, because it was still random, right? And literally having the chance to randomly explode, not very fun, right? Because the shell could even not hit your magazine and hit near your magazine, from what I'm understanding how the mechanic works, and you just explode. And it's happened to me, happened to you, it's happened to everybody. You've probably seen someone detonate if you play pretty regularly, once or twice a week. It's just a random occurrence once your ship's HP is below 75%. Now, where the issue came in my opinion at least, is that CVs, and I think submarines too, cannot detonate. Even though, once again, very famously at Midway, the Japanese CVs detonated because they were swapping out their munitions. But Wargaming says that's not allowed to happen. So, while on one hand I'm fine with something that has historical precedence having a mechanic in game, when you disallow one full class for years from ever detonating, being the CVs, that's just not fair, in my opinion. And again, I believe submarines too, don't quote me on it, but I believe submarines cannot detonate. Their HP is so low, though, you just get a good couple of salvos on them. They are dead if they're at the surface. But anyway, that's besides the point. That's another conversation for another date. Now, from what I've seen so far, the reception to this news has been pretty positive across the community, although there are some that are like, well, that's, again, kind of historical, and it did happen in real life. I'm of the opinion, if one class has an exception to it, every class should have an exception to it when it comes to stuff like a detonation mechanic. So if CVs and subs can't detonate, no one should be able to detonate. I would have been equally fine with them returning the detonation mechanic to CVs and subs. That's, again, things that have happened in real life. Now, what is very interesting is that not only are they removing the detonation flag, that's another thing too. It's like, historical accuracy, right? But you put this magic piece of cloth on your ship, and your magazine will not detonate because of this piece of cloth. And I get that we have other signal flags that provide bonuses too, but the other bonuses are fairly minor overall, and you can 100% not run flags with regards to most of them, and you'll be perfectly fine in random battles. Of course, in clan battles and ranked, when you're trying to optimize your ship, that's a different story. But yeah, a big advantage like just not detonating is something a little silly coming from a piece of cloth. But anyway, the new piece of cloth that we're getting, Charlie Kilo, giving you a 5% buff to your ship HP. That's fairly a good buff. 5% is like right on that edge of becoming almost this is a little bit too good. But like 5% of, let's take, well, because the math's easy with like a GK, a ship like the GK that has 100,000 HP, it's actually 105 on the GK, but like still, you get another 5,000 HP and change on the GK. So that's, when we're talking about the GK's armor, one shell. So in most cases, it's buying you one more hit from another ship. So it's not really a huge buff, but I can see why some players are saying, oh, well, we're replacing the Juliet Charlie flag, which was the flag you pretty much had to take to not explode. And even I've recommended that too. When talking about my free to play grind series, the only flag I took consistently was Juliet Charlie, because if you blow up when you get below 75% HP, you've lost a whole game's worth of credits, right? So most players would run that flag anyway. So now you're replacing with the Charlie Kilo flag, which again is pretty much going to be a must-have among a lot of players. But I think again, you're really only buying yourself one more shell hit, if that, with this flag. So while I don't think it's a must-have flag, I think it's a flag that's going to be taken fairly regularly by most players. Really interesting though that they are not replacing the magazine modification with any other type of modification. It's just gone, reduced to atoms. So there's that. Hey, if you have a bunch of magazine modification 1 upgrades mounted, which I know I have a bunch on ships that I had when I first played the game. I just haven't removed those mods from those ships, so you're in for a bit of a payday when these changes go live. And it is kind of funny because the magazine modification 1 upgrade is kind of redundant because it reduces your chance of detonating by 75%. But like if you take the flag, you just won't detonate. So when I realized that, like, I went, oh, why would I ever waste credits on the module if I can just take the flag, and the rest is history. So like a bunch of my low tier American ships have that modification on them because I didn't want to blow up back in the day. And then, well, the magic cloth stops that from happening rather than the module, right? So overall, though, I do think it's a fairly good change because it's not really your fault that your ship's below 75% HP because, you know, you're playing the game, you're taking damage like you're supposed to in a game based on, you know, naval warfare, right? And then a shell hits your ship, and because a random, you know, number gets rolled, you explode. It's not very skill based, right? And it's kind of, you know, when I talk about War Thunder Naval, you can reliably detonate ships in War Thunder Naval because they too have the magazines modeled, but it's not a random chance of War Thunder Naval. It's literally, if you can pierce the magazine, the enemy ship will explode in fantastic fashion because that's just how War Thunder works, right? So that is very frustrating in War Thunder, and it's even more frustrating here because it is just a random chance. So I think it's a good thing that it's getting removed. Again, I would have been just as happy if they would have just applied it to every class in the game. So, you know, CVs can detonate, subs can detonate, everyone can detonate, you know. But I think this is, again, a good move. You know, either everyone detonates or no one detonates. And, well, no one detonating is a pretty solid thing in my opinion. If anything now, I mean, like, free-to-play players rejoice because you don't have to take the detonation flag anymore once 13.11 goes live. So there you go. I wonder what they're going to do with the achievement. Because if you have never detonated, if you've been so lucky, you get an achievement when you detonate. So are all of us players playing before 13.11 just going to be able to keep our dozens of detonated achievements, or are they just going to kind of disappear from our commander records? That's interesting to think about. But guys, what do you think about these changes? Do you think it's good? Do you think it's bad? Do you think it's bad that they're replacing the detonation flag with basically an HP flag now? Good? Positive? What is you guys' opinions? Share them in the comments down below if you don't mind. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I will be live streaming here tonight, well, this evening on the channel, around 3:30-ish U.S. Central Time, if my internet does so allow me to do so. So make sure you come out here on both the channel and Twitch for that. But yeah, guys, let me know what you guys think about these changes in the comments down below. Hope you guys have a great Friday and wonderful weekend. Hope to catch you guys in the next one.